Today, I'm going to be talking about the price of perfectionism, and being a recovering perfectionist makes me the right person to talk about this. So, today, I'm going to be talking about what is perfectionism, what is the price we're paying for it, and maybe some things that we can do to shift so that we can make that work for us instead of against us. So, perfectionism is this tendency that some of us have to do things perfectly. Now, that's also an oxymoron in a way because we're striving for something that we're never going to get to. So, perfectionism, by definition, is like trying to run to a place that doesn't exist because you, by definition, will never get there. So, what we do as perfectionists is that we maybe get caught up in that hamster wheel because we want to do things perfect. Why the why of perfectionism? Why are some people perfectionist? Why are some of us perfectionists? So some of it might be our past upbringing. Maybe we have parents that were really strict. They really wanted us to do everything perfect. A lot of parents do this. They want you to be perfect in school. They want you to get straight A's. They want you to have your room clean. They basically want you to be the perfect child. They think they're doing you a favor by doing this, but they're really not necessarily doing that. So, all of these past stories that we tell ourselves. The other reason why we might be perfectionists is society. So, perfectionism, overwork, has been glorified in our society. So if you spend a lot of hours working, amazing. That's changing a little bit, but I think there's a lot of people who still feel the pressure that if they're not working a lot and they're not doing a lot and they're not doing it great and they don't look really great to the outside world, that they're not doing something right. So we strive for that perfectionism. The other reason might also be things like Instagram, YouTube, like all of this sort of social media slash whatever we have in terms of content, because it looks like people who are there are perfect, but they are really not. They are just human beings like the rest of us, even coaches like myself. We're just human beings, we might be screwed up in some ways. The only difference between probably you and me is that I have a few more tools in my toolkit because I've done lots of training to kind of deal with these things, but you're not seeing reality. So it pushes us to be like that, pushes us for perfection. So those are some reasons. The other reasons might be deeper. And again, it's really hard to go through them in content like this that is speaking to a lot of different people. But what I have seen across the board is that it might be reasons like you're afraid of failure. So fear of failure is a big one. So because you're afraid to fail, a lot of us are, then you work really, really quite hard. So you need to get it perfect so you do not fail because there's that fear of failure. When the reality of it is that nobody really quite succeeds without failing. It's very few cases in the world when somebody does something the first time or whatever, and then they just succeed right away. There is no success without failure. The other one might be fear of judgment. A lot of us are very afraid of what our colleagues are thinking about us, what our boss is thinking about us, what our spouse is thinking about us, what our friends are thinking about us. So we really want to look perfect for them. And we put on sort of this persona sometimes, but also we use perfectionism to do things perfect so that they're not judging us. So it's kind of a shield against judgment. It's something that I have often seen with my clients. Um, and I think those are probably the main reasons for perfectionism. And you might have something different that maybe caused you to get to this place. But if you feel like you're being a perfectionist, if you feel like you have to do everything to a degree where um, nobody will find either fault on it or it'll just look perfect, or if you have a certain standard, because this is different for everybody, like perfect is different for everybody. If you feel like you're getting to that place of perfectionism, there are certain things you can do. Now, you are paying a price for perfectionism as well. So there is a big price that we're all paying. And I think it goes for everything in life. Everything in life has a bit of a cost. The price of perfectionism is often your health, your mental well being, and your happiness. So if you're spending all of this energy, and we all only have a certain amount of energy during the day, please do not be fooled by energy drinks or coffee. Our body has a certain amount of energy that it can use during the day. And I can talk confidently about this because I recover from chronic fatigue syndrome caused by things like perfectionism. So you only have a certain amount of energy. And imagine that you're investing all of that energy in doing everything right, everything perfect, everything to the nth degree. You're spending time, but more importantly, you're spending your energy, your mental resources, and all of these different things on getting it right. And that's a drain on your health. And eventually, that causes stress. And stress for prolonged periods of time causes burnout and causes disease. This has been scientifically proven. Stress correlates and adds to disease. So you're paying a price, which is your health, your precious health, also your happiness, because you're spending all of this time trying to get it right and asking yourself if people are, and your mental well-being, because you're asking yourself if people are going to judge it and all of these different things. And that energy that you could be spending in doing things that you love, being out with people, breathing, meditating, all of these different things is being wasted, quote unquote, on getting things perfect, on chasing the impossible, because you will never get there, because nothing will ever be perfect. So if you feel like you're in this wagon, whatever reason you feel that you're a perfectionist, and maybe you didn't know you were a perfectionist before, but listening to this content has helped you realize that maybe you are, there are things that you can do to stop yourself from getting to a point of where you will need recovery time, where your health will be affected, your relationships, your happiness. So, different things that you can do. One of them, realize that you can never be perfect. Nobody is. Nobody is perfect. I can assure you 100% with that. I have the privilege of working with people one on one on confidential spaces that really share things with me. And people who might look very successful from the outside are just like the rest of us, just people who are messy, who are trying to like get it right, and maybe you perceive them as being perfect, but they're not. Two, resist the temptation to spend time on social media. I have personally cut out most of my social media except for LinkedIn, and I don't even have it on my phone. I actually have it on my laptop. And YouTube is the only thing I do have on my phone. And sometimes I go down the rabbit hole. That's true. But YouTube, I also use it for professional content and things like that. So I do have that. But please resist the temptation to scroll down, look at people who have more successful businesses, who've been there before, who've been there longer, who look great, who have the perfect body, who seem to have the perfect kids and the perfect family, because that's all not true. They're just showing you that side of themselves. And then three is let go of any fear of failure and fear of judgment. So this is where working with your limiting beliefs really helps you. So really think about where's all this stuff coming from, and ask yourself if you're ready to let it go. Are you ready to let go of judgment from other people? It can be incredibly liberating to be able to do that because it's giving you permission to be yourself. And when I did this for myself, I paradoxically stopped caring about what my clients thought, and as I did this, my clients started getting even better results. Just because I was showing up as myself, I was being very bold, and I'm a very challenging coach sometimes. So I kindly challenge people, but I was able to show up in that way for them. And that gave them permission to show up as themselves. And it helped me quite a lot. So letting go of that fear of rejection and what are people going to think can be immensely liberating for you. So those are a few things that you can do. The topic is quite kind of deep, and but as a recovering perfectionist, because sometimes I still catch myself doing these things, I can tell you that letting go of that perfectionism has made a really big impact in my life. It has helped me to be so much more focused, so much happier, so much healthier. I'm not exhausted like I used to be. I know my energy is being spent on things that I love, and it's brought so much growth and joy into my life. So I'm hoping this was useful for you. If you have any comments, you'll leave them around where this content is, and I will see you on the next one.